San Francisco is home to 70% of all asbestos cases filed in the state of California. What that translates to in annual numbers is we get 500 new cases filed. That number's been steady over a 5-year sample that I looked at. And the history of high volume filings in San Francisco goes back to the 80s. I don't know why all the cases came to San Francisco. I'm pretty sure they're not going away anytime soon. We have a system in California that tightly regulates the process of a civil case to trial. You can exempt from that by being designated complex, and every asbestos filing is designated complex. That means that the court is entitled to write general orders or specific orders for a case that vary from the rules of court or the Code of Civil Procedure, as long as you don't contradict it or add new law. We have a set of general orders, some of which are derelicts on the oceans of litigation, and no one knows what they mean anymore. They refer to dead judges and courtrooms and courthouses that don't exist anymore. But the active ones prescribe deadlines and actually prescribe the kinds of discovery. They actually form interrogatories that are custom built for the defense and the plaintiffs. We do not, we have the capacity to, but we do not do, I think, a very good job of judicial management of our caseload. We rely on the lawyers, specifically the plaintiffs, to show up at the first status and setting conference, which is supposed to happen 11 months into the case, and form groups. And the groups are defined by living or dead and the disease type. So we have groups of living asbestosis cases. We have groups of wrongful death asbestosis, mesothelioma, lung cancer, other cancer. The groups get formed, and we form, I'm going to say, about 20 every status and setting conference. They're held every 2 months, and we don't get that number out every year. We are creating a backlog. It says in my biography we have 1,600 pending cases. I'll stick with that. I don't know if anybody really knows what we have. The management of trials is we set trials without really having any certainty we're going to get you out. Everybody knows that. Everybody shows up, and we are able to get the cases out that are coming up on some deadline. There's a 5-year mandatory dismissal statute. We have not had to invoke that in recent memory, although it has happened. And then there are what are called preference cases, which have to be tried within 120 days of being granted preference. That has to do with the health or age of the plaintiff. I think the general order system works pretty well. I'm here to hear if it doesn't. I think that the management from the bench could be better. In other words, we need to keep an eye on cases. We're doing a little bit better job than that. We devoted one judge strictly to settlement and management, and he's been doing it for about 2 years now. We do not have a string of volunteers to take over for that judge, but we will get one. We have 12 judges devoted to trials of civil matters, and at any given time we probably have between 2 and 6 of them trying asbestos cases. We sent out, over the last 2 years that we measured, about 110 cases, and in each of those years we took 8 verdicts in asbestos. It is a massively inefficient system. We use jurors at an absolutely abominable rate because even the tightest, meanest judges can't really squeeze an asbestos trial below about 3 weeks. And once you get to about 21 days, you get a huge problem in jurors who will be able to afford to be there. So a given asbestos case will usually burn up about 400 jurors. That's in a city with a daytime population or a nighttime population of 748,000. It is probably the single most critical piece of the system that could break. If the economy gets worse, if things get bad, you'll have a lot of jurors saying, I just can't be on jury duty. And we get something like 65% of our eligible jurors to show up on a first or a second notice. That's a remarkable return. If that dips something down like LA gets, the civil system could grind to a halt. But it hasn't happened in 20 years, so.